Hello everyone. Today we will try to understand what are the roles played by different employees and different entities in the construction industry. When I say different employees and different entities, which includes your contractors, your subcontractors, what roles they play, your civil engineer, what role he plays, your architect, what role he plays. Okay, so all those people, what are their roles and responsibility, and how they come together and uh, make this process a better one. Okay, so today we'll try to understand what are the different roles each entity or employee play during the construction process. Okay, so let us quickly begin and see what roles they play. So we will begin with the role of an architect. So generally, what does your architect do? If you have a basic idea, you will realize that he will draw, he will make plans, right? He will do all the drawing works, right? But apart from this, the architect has various other kind of roles. This is not just architect just not only draw, but he needs to get involved into potential building bids, right? So all the bidding work is also taken care by the architect. Okay, and he also need to talk with the clients, need to work with the client and determine the requirement of the building project. So generally, what does the client want and how he wants the building to be constructed and what are his requirement is also what your architect needs to look after. Then he also need to understand the all the estimate kind of thing. Initial estimate the architect need to do initially at the starting stage of the project. He needs to have all the estimation ideas, as in what would be the structural cost, what would be the building time, as in means what would be the entire scheduling, how much time it would take, right? And if there are any other special requirements, that also you need to take care of. Okay. Now, after this, there are few more things which he need to look after. Maybe he need to look after the subcontractors. If you have, if the architect is working for the main contractor, then there would be subcontractors whose billings and everything need to be taken care of, and architect need to have a look after them also. So these are the few of the basic roles which an architect play. Then what roles does your general contractor play? Okay, so your general contractor generally is involved in the hiring of adequate subcontractor. He should have a good subcontractor. Supplying of material and labor, right, is taken care of by your general contractor. And managing schedule and cash flow, because the client will not give money monthly on monthly basis. Okay, so he will just give the contractor a lump sum amount depending upon the completion of the work. Okay, so once the contractor has this lump sum amount, so how he plan to schedule or how he distributes this amount depending upon the work. So the cash flow thing is taken care by the general contractor, because all the employees will wait for the salary at the end of the month, right? So you need to take care of this cash flow thing. Okay, so and also safety at the site, right? Keeping the project within the deadlines. Okay, so the project should not go beyond the deadline. Okay, so suppose if you are asked to construct something which has a projected timing of, say, suppose 2 years. Okay, so you are not supposed to go maybe 3 years or 4 years. Maybe some few months are generally what happens in the construction industries is that you will obviously have certain delays, but this delay should not go way beyond. Okay, that is also one of the role which a general contractor has to look after. Okay, so let us move on to the next. Then, what are the roles played by your subcontractor? Subcontractors are hired by the general contractors. Okay, so general contractor is the main contractor. Okay, who gets the entire project. Now, what he does is he distributes if he does not have adequate labor or something like that, or so what he will do is he will hire certain contractors who are specialized in certain kind of things. For an example, he has to construct few swimming pools, okay, the main contractor in the hotel, okay, if he gets the contract of a hotel, so he will hire a subcontractor. Okay, the subcontractor will look after the construction of that swimming pool. He might be a specialist in construction of that swimming pool. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, so the subcontractor needs to meet the client and the general contractor and discuss what they need from the project. Okay, that is his role, and he need to complete whatever task is given to him, right, specific task given to him. Okay, and then he need to look after his laborers, right, who are at the site, because the contractor will pay him after the completion of the work, but the laborers would be working on monthly wages or weekly wages, whatever they are working on. Okay, so overseeing the terms, right, all those things are the basic roles of your subcontractors. Then what is the role of a civil engineer? Okay, so generally civil engineer manage, design, develop, create. Okay, all those things are done by your civil engineer. Okay, so doing your feasibility studies as in, is the project really feasible? Feasible in the sense of economy, means as in the funds are really, means is the fund sufficient to do the project, and feasible environmentally, is the project gonna hurt environment or not. Okay, all those things are just taken care of by your civil engineer, and the remaining thing you must be knowing that he looks after the design, the execution part. Okay, so um, uh, if the building is being constructed as per the plans which are provided by the architect and the senior engineers, okay, civil engineer needs to look after the site basically, so that all the execution part is also done by your civil engineer. Okay, so looking after the regular material supply and all those things, everything will all the site work in general is done by your civil engineer. Now, what are the role of your project manager? Project manager generally looks after the planning of the project, execution of the project, project control, closing of the project, how to close up the project, identifying the goals and needs of that project, okay, and planning and monitoring your entire schedule, right? So the project manager uh, is generally looking after the entire project work. Okay, so he generally needs to plan, right, look after the deadlines and all those things. Role of a quantity surveyor. Okay, so role of the quantity surveyor uh, generally comes with estimating the quantity of different materials, maybe different material, different when I talk different about different materials, it's about the construction materials. So what amount of cement is required, what amount of steel is required, all those things are looked after by your quantity surveyor. He will generally give that, and then he also need to have budget management. He need to look after the budget management, and also he need to look after, means he will prepare the bill of quantities. Okay, so how much bill is required for the quantities as in material quantities and labor quantities also. So the quantity surveyor needs to look after those two things. So these are the roles of the different employees who work in a construction industry, right? Different entities and employees who work in the construction industry. So I think that would be sufficient enough, and I will see you in my next lecture. Thanks a lot.